Whoa! Hey there! Welcome to Dark Console Games. My name is Nikita, and this is the first real video, I'd say, on this channel. Where, as you guessed by the title, we made it a tabletop role-playing game, Fathom. And I just wanted to talk about how that came to be. And you know, with most ways these things start, this started with Dungeons & Dragons. The team and I and some other friends started in high school, and we used to play 9-hour sessions every Sunday for 4 to 5 years. And we really, as you can tell, really fell in love with D&D. But over that time, we found ourselves modifying the game a lot. We wanted a lot more of a hardcore environment, more tactical combat. We constantly found ourselves looking for resources and making up our own resources to try to kind of simulate that. And eventually during COVID, at a certain point, we kind of went, you know what? Let's take a crack at this. Let's make our own system. You know, we had played Call of Cthulhu and some other games, but still what we were looking for was this kind of just this raw freedom. Maybe something classless. Maybe something similar to the games that we were playing at the time, which all fell into the action role-playing game genre, such as Diablo 2. And, you know, in a game like Diablo 2, it is an ARPG, there is a lot of combat. It's got role-playing game in the title, but role-playing is more your presence in the world and the setting and the lore. But most of it is coming together and creating a very intricate build that interacts with everything, the synergies of your items, of your class, if there is a class, of your allies. And, these kind of games always, kind of kept us up at night thinking of builds and theory crafting. I'm like, oh, can I do this and that? Another game that kind of we drew a lot of inspiration from, also an ARPG, was Path of Exile. And particularly its skill tree, just super expansive, all these branches intersecting, connecting with each other. We're like, we looked at all this and we're like, can we do this in a tabletop setting? And that's what we try to do. And in COVID, the work began. And at first, before we even got to the system, we had to come up with an idea. And I've been the forever DM for the group for a while, and everyone's like, Nikita, what do you got? And I'm like, all right, emptied my brain. We got underwater water world. Yeah, exactly. So, very, very inspired by things like Metro and BioShock, as well as Fallout, in terms of the aesthetic and this post-apocalyptic environment that, we're trying to simulate. But we wanted something, really, really weird, really, really sci-fi. Like, oh, comets caused this. How did the water go up? It's because comets are made of ice. They hit the Earth. They melted. What's in comets? Aliens. And as we kind of started connecting the dots and trying to make this setting actually work, all these new and brilliant ideas started kind of spilling in. And at one point we're like, we were inspired by classic sci-fi, like Planet of the Apes. Let's have monkeys in this. We're doing this kind of underground 70s aesthetic, little steampunk dystopian with aliens, monkeys. This is turning into a melting pot of what science fiction is all about. It just kind of stuck. And from that point on, we went ahead and started trying to get into the system. And like I talked about previously, we wanted this to be an action role-playing game. There was gonna be a lot of combat, and the rules would be very combat-oriented. We even had, abilities in the beginning that would cater, to role-playing specific, and then we just scrapped all of that because we decided, you shouldn't have to be able, have to choose. And action role-playing games, the core is the action. The fact that we're bringing role-playing into this in a tabletop setting could just be something that is more flexible, something that is not written exactly, and that is why we created a rule where everything is combat. With you and the GM's flexibility, all these spells, abilities, everything that is written very specific combat terminology can actually be used outside of combat, basically in any way that you see fit in the parameters of the world. If the GM allows it, it can happen. And one of our core philosophies with the system, which is classless, we did decide to have absolutely no classes, just kind of that branching Path of Exile skill tree, except, of course, we didn't draw it out like that, but I'm sure if you put it on a piece of paper, maybe it would look something like that. There is over like 300 abilities. But anyway, the core philosophy that we wanted to adopt was we wanted a very, very complicated, crunchy, thing going on. That everything on your character sheet, could be pretty complex. That's where all your builds come in. That's where you keep track of all your synergies. That's where the magic happens. But the gameplay itself at its core is going to be pretty simple and intuitive. And of course, there will be complexity when like a certain ability interacts with another ability, or a monster does this, and everyone's moving around and reacting in combat. But generally, the core rules are simple, and the character sheet is complex and intriguing. And hopefully the builds that arise from exploring the game are magical and one of a kind. And when playtesting these games at UCI and UC Santa Barbara, we actually did find this kind of like Fathom effect where people were having, that same feeling that we would get when we used to play games like this, where you'd be theory crafting, you couldn't sleep at night because you're trying to put a new build together, and you have to like kind of wake up and write it down before you forget and test out this, this combination of abilities. We even had people coding in Excel, creating like these probability calculators, like if this spell goes off, what are the chances of like this happening, and all these crazy things that were kind of made possible with this really just synergistic system. And yeah, I mean, we launched now a month ago. We're here, we're starting the channel, we're trying to get it out there. If you're watching, thank you, and stay tuned for more content on this channel. We already have some shorts that highlight kind of the world a little bit, how to play, how to make a character, and you'll be seeing some of the other devs, the two partners of the company, Marcus Martin, Ethan Shin. We'll all be kind of making our own little videos just to talk about this game that was a 5-year project and still is a continuing development that we love very, very much, and are hopefully kickstarting some physical books for y'all by the end of 2025. But yeah, that's all from me. Hope you guys liked the content. Hope you guys like the vision, and I'll see you around. Thanks for watching, and check out links for the game in the description on drivethrurpg and itch.io. See you next time.